What's going on, everybody? So this is going to be a video on tips on how to do well, how to maximize the points you can get, how to just achieve the best results that you can get for your Leaving Cert, because I know a lot of my followers and a lot of my subscribers are young guys and girls doing their Leaving Cert this year. It's in like what, 3 weeks? It's in like 3 weeks, people. Like you need to do something. So I figured I'd give you a few tips, explain a little bit why I think I can give you a few tips, and hopefully you can benefit from it and get all the points. You're gonna get 625 points if you listen to me, basically. Disclaimer, I cannot guarantee 625 points. But anyway, in case you're new to this video, you're a new subscriber or like a new person watching this video, because I feel like this will probably reach more people than just my audience. You're probably wondering, who is this guy and why does he have such a nice tree in the background of his video? Well, my name's Sean. I'm a third year business student now in Trinity College. I did my Leaving Cert like 2014, and I got 515 points, which was like pretty good for me, but I probably could have done better. That's going to be one of the things we talk about in a little bit, how, you know, what you get and what you can achieve is very much relative to you and the work you've put in and stuff. But yeah, I got 515 points, which was good for me considering the amount of work I actually put into it. Without any further ado, let's get into the tips, okay? I made notes on my phone because I'm really bad at remembering things. Hopefully, you know, everybody gives you tips for Leaving Cert. So your parents tell you to study, do this, do that. Your teachers tell you to study, do this, do that. I'm kind of hoping that because I'm not your parents, I hope, and I'm not your teacher, that the tips that I can give you, because they're actually from somebody who's been there and done it and like relatively young, and you know, maybe they can actually resonate with you and you will listen to what I'm saying rather than just kind of blocking out what a teacher's saying or whatever because you don't like them. Not saying that you don't like other teachers, but anyway, the first tip that I have for you guys is to start studying. I mean, the Leaving Cert is 3 weeks away. You need to get in and be doing serious hours of studying every single day now. I don't care if you haven't studied up to this. I don't care if you've been doing loads of studying up to this. You need to get in and you need to be prioritizing your study right now. Over everything else in your life, you need to study right now, because a lot of people don't realize it at the age when you're doing it. I certainly didn't realize just how important the Leaving Cert is. It's kind of like, my mom always used the analogy, it's kind of like the passport to the rest of your life. And when I was younger doing the Leaving Cert, I didn't really accept that or understand that, but she was right. You know, if you don't do well in your Leaving Cert, if you're not somebody who's blessed with like some other gift that you don't need a college education for, or if you're not somebody really lucky who gets lucky and starts a business or something, the Leaving Cert will, to a large degree, dictate your future. You need to, you know, it's essentially going to aid you to get where you need to be to further your life in future. Even the people who you talk to now who didn't do particularly well, or they weren't happy with how they did in their Leaving Cert, they will always say, oh, I wish I studied more, or I wish I did this, or I wish I did that so I could have done this instead. I think when you're 18, the age most people are doing their Leaving Cert, you don't understand fully just how important it is. And I really want to emphasize that to people, because a lot of the people who you see online will say, oh, don't worry, the Leaving Cert's not the be all and end all, it's not that important. It is important. It is important, unless you're somebody who's really lucky and has, you know, you're a brilliant singer, or you're going to make a career in another way other than just through doing a normal job, or else you get lucky and you start your own business or something and you go into that. The Leaving Cert is really important, and I want to emphasize that, and I want you to just go and start studying. Start studying, people. Start studying. Tip number 2, probably one of the biggest tips I can give you, is to make notes. You know, don't just sit there reading through a book for hours and hours and hours. You know, nobody can, unless you're really, again, really gifted, nobody can just take in information just from reading it. For me personally, what I always do is I make notes on everything that I do. You know, I just kind of different colored pens, highlighters, stuff like that. Get in, get notes, get them down. By just writing it down, it kind of reinforces it in your head, helps you learn. And then what I do from that is, say if I'm writing notes for a history essay back in the day, so I used to make plans for my history essays. I'd do like a paragraph by paragraph plan, and then I'd break that down further, and I'd just go like paragraph 1 and have like a couple of keywords just to kind of jog your memory to see what you need to remember for the actual thing, because you're not going to remember pages and pages of information, you know, in detail. That's not possible. Nobody's that good. So what you need to do is condense your notes, So originally read the chapter, whatever, make notes on the chapter, and then condense those notes further into little flashcards or trigger points for your memory, just so you're kind of reading through it and going, ah yeah, that means I think about this or whatever. So you're kind of just keeping yourself ticking over in the head, making sure that everything that you're actually reading goes in, and hopefully you can learn it. Tip number three, balance. Lads, I can't stress how important balance is for somebody doing the Leaving Cert. And you know, just because I'm a fitness guy who goes to the gym or whatever, I don't mean getting up and going to the gym or going to the gym 5 times a week or whatever. Just get out and do something when you're not studying. Now, obviously, you can't do something that takes away from your studying. You need to make sure that your studying is the priority, but that you're still having a little bit of balance in your life. I don't mind if that's like, you know, going and getting coffee with your friends, going out for a walk, going and playing football training, hurling training, even going to the gym or whatever, you know, just get out and do something. Get out, get some fresh air, go for a run, interact with your family, I don't know, but just don't sit there and study 24/7, because you will lose your mind. You know, you will absolutely go crazy, crack up, and it's not worth it. That's not worth it, because your studying will not be optimized then. Whereas with a little bit of balance, a little bit of exercise, kind of keeps the blood flowing to your head, you should be doing better. Step number 4. At this stage in particular, especially if you haven't really started studying yet, my biggest tip would be to start prioritizing your study, prioritizing your notes, prioritizing what you're doing. So for example, focus on what you are good at. So if you're good at business, you know, focus on that. Try and maximize the amount of result, or the result that you can get in business. Say you're good at maths, especially focus on that, because there's the extra 25 points there for the higher level maths, you know. So, and also prioritize your topics. So at this stage, you need to be looking at exam papers. You need to be thinking about, well, what do I think is going to come up, you know? And don't just go by what your teachers say either, you know, because the teachers don't always get it right. I remember for my year, you know, in particular, there was a couple of things that were tipped to come up, and none of it came up. And our teacher had kind of like banked on those specific things coming up, and there was people who had just studied that based on the teacher saying it, and suddenly they went into the exam and they were like, well, what do I do now? You know, this hasn't come up. So you need to kind of make your own estimations, talk to people, see what you're thinking. Now this is, you know, if you're really stuck now and you haven't studied, I would suggest this, you know, and don't just open your business book or your biology book or your geography book and just sit there and start reading through it and be like, oh yeah, I'm doing some studying. You can't do that. You gotta prioritize certain topics, certain chapters, things that are going to benefit you the most at this stage, because at this stage you're running out of time. You know, you need to start getting in and getting really focused on what you need to know, because it's soon. Let's just no getting away from that. It's very soon. So you need to prioritize your learning, condense the information, maximize the amount that you can remember, and get in and do the exam. Because don't forget, do not forget, at the end of the day, the Leaving Cert is just a glorified memory test. You know, if you can just remember information in bulk, you're going to do well. If you're somebody who struggles to remember information and stuff like that, it's going to be more difficult for you. There's no denying that. But what you have to do is just try and maximize the amount that you can remember by doing the utmost to help yourself study, whatever that may be. You know, whether it's writing notes, ensuring you listen to music when you're studying. It's just something that triggers something in your head to make you remember a certain thing. Finally, step number 5, or tip number 5, is don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to what your friends are doing and be like, oh, you know, Paul said he's not doing any studying at all, and then he'll come out with 625 points. You know, don't go by what your friends are saying and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm not even bothered or whatever. Everybody should be bothered about the Leaving Cert and doing well in the Leaving Cert. And if they're not, grand, leave them to it. It's not it's not their Leaving Cert you're worried about, it's your own results, because the Leaving Cert is a very personal thing, you know, and it's something that will impact you a lot more than it's going to impact them in your own life, you know. So if your friends are saying to you, oh, I don't care about Leaving Cert or anything, dismiss that. They probably are studying at home. They're just saying it because they don't want to seem, you know, whatever, like a nerd or whatever, you know, doing a lot of studying at home. They don't want to be saying to everybody, oh yeah, I'm going home studying for 6 hours. Dismiss that. Focus on yourself. Focus on maximizing your results, doing the best that you can do, and you're going to be so much happier then when you open that envelope in September and you see you've got what you want or what you think you deserve to get. So the last little thing that I want to talk about as well is, and this kind of goes back to the other point, the Leaving Cert is a very personal experience. You know, it doesn't matter if you're friends with somebody who thinks they're going to get 625 points and then they only come out with 500 points, in their mind they've done badly. You know, they haven't done well, they haven't fulfilled their potential. Whereas if you're somebody who thinks they're going to get 300, 400 points and then you end up coming out with 500 points, you've done exceptionally well. So don't forget that the Leaving Cert is very, very relative. Your results are relative to you. Don't be concerned about what others are doing, what others get, because at the end of the day, it's about you doing well, you maximizing your potential, and you doing the best that you can to improve and get the course that you want, or get whatever it may be that you want after school. They're my 5 tips for studying. They're probably different to the tips that you hear a lot. You know, they're a little bit more out there in terms of the advice I would give. You know, the basic ones, everybody knows you need to study, stuff like that. It's just a question of getting in now and doing the work, people. So if I can say anything to you, it is to make sure that you don't feel disappointed with yourself after an exam, or disappointed with yourself when you open the results in September, because there's nothing worse. You know, when you see, I was there and I was quite happy with my results when I opened them up, but when you see the disappointment on people's faces, you know, there's girls crying, there's lads who are just like sitting there like, well, what do I do now, because I'm not going to get my course that they've worked all this way for. There is nothing more heartbreaking than seeing that happen and seeing the disappointment in people's faces. And trust me, you do not want to be one of those people, especially when you see other people who are around you who are after doing really well, they're really happy, they're jumping up and down, there's pictures being taken, everybody's asking everybody what they got. You don't want to be that person who's disappointed, sitting there being like, oh. And also, don't be one of those people who doesn't care. Please don't be one of those people who doesn't care, because as I've said, the Leaving Cert is important. Even if you're, you know, you're going into doing something completely irrelevant that you think your Leaving Cert won't matter. You know, people doing an apprenticeship or who already gotten into their course in college or whatever, you still need to do as well as you can, because you never know in a few years what you might want to do, what you might want to come back and do. And you know, people are always saying to me, oh, I regret not doing this, because they've changed their mind later in life. Look at me, I've changed my mind. If I could go back and pick, I would never have done business in a million years. I would never have picked a business course. I would have gone and done something personal training related or something like that, something I was more interested in now. But as I said, at 18, you don't know what you want, because I'm 21 now and my mind has changed so many times since then. But anyway, that's the video, guys. That's the tips. I hope that some of you can take them on board. And as I said, because I'm not your parents or I'm not your teacher, that they might just resonate with you and you might listen to what I'm saying. But yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, I can't do anything for you. I can't go and study for you. You have to go and do it yourself. So yeah, best of luck to everybody who is doing the Leaving Cert. It's tough, there's no denying it, but just get in and do the work now, and you'll be so much happier come September when you open that envelope. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, guys, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all for normal videos again in a few days. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you.